Sergeant here with your daily recap. Today is day number 5. Great job this week. I am so proud of all of you. And whether you are a student, a parent, or a sibling, or anyone watching this video, I am proud of you. We had our first week of virtual instructions and you made this week so special. It says it right behind me. You're awesome. Now, we're going to talk about what we did today in science and in ELA, so stay tuned. So in ELA today, we started with our first picture prompt, which asked the question, if you could create a class, any class whatsoever, what would it be? And some of the students' answers were incredible. I believe we had everything from a cooking class to an art class to my favorite, more science classes. Then the class took a Kahoot Quiz and did an incredible job. Now, if you weren't able to log on to Kahoot this morning and did it this afternoon, the site will be open for, well, 2 more days. The link is in the description below. Feel free to take the quiz. You can take it more than once too, which is awesome. It pretty much just assesses what we learned this week. And the results that I've gotten so far are wonderful. It shows me that I have some incredible students that have been paying attention all week long. After ELA, we have science. Now, today in science, we were going to do an experiment, but we needed the sun to do it. So instead, we learned about the scientific method. Now, what the scientific method is a series of steps that a student or anyone else doing an experiment will do in order to ensure that they do their experiment correctly and they learn the most from it. The first part of the scientific method that we talked about was questions. Now, it's important to be able to ask a question because that's, well, how we learn. In an experiment, we ask a question to figure out and try to solve the problem. And that's what the other steps are for. So after questioning, we have make a hypothesis. Now, a hypothesis is just a guess. Whether or not you're going to be able to prove an answer, whether something is yes or no, whether it works or it doesn't. It's right now, it's just a guess. And it's a guess until we test it. And that's where the third step comes in, and we have the experiment. Now, we called it the procedures. Now, these are the series of steps that you're going to take in order to do the experiment. In a little bit, I'm going to model how to do an experiment. That's actually pretty fun. We did it in class today. After that, we have the results. Now, after we do the experiments, we get data, but we're looking at the results. Did your experiment work? And that's where we put in the results. Now, usually the results are yes or no. Yes, it worked. No, it didn't. And then you don't have to explain why. That's just the facts. The facts from the experiment you'll put in your result. And finally, we have our conclusion. Now, the conclusion is talking about what you learned. Now, for our experiment today, we're going to have a number of supplies to do, but if you stay tuned, I'm going to model how to do this project step by step. So the question that I have, since that's our first step in our scientific method, is can I blow up a balloon without putting any air into it myself? That's a pretty good question. My hypothesis is yes, I can. Because, well, honestly, I've done this before. But even if it wasn't, I'm going to say yes because I want to stay positive about what I can try to prove. And here's the thing. There's no right or wrong answer for your hypothesis. It is what you think before you do the experiment. So for this experiment, I highly recommend that you do this with your families. This isn't one of those that a student should do alone because it gets kind of messy. The first thing you need to do is gather your materials. That's the first step in any experiment. So for this experiment, we're going to need the following materials. First up, we got a balloon. Next, a bottle. After that, we need a funnel. We need some baking soda, some vinegar, and probably the most important part, the spoon. So now what we're gonna do is the step-by-step instructions of how to fill up a balloon with just the materials that we had. Is it gonna work? Well, we don't know yet. That's why we're doing the experiment. So, first step, we need to fill the balloon with the baking soda. But before we can begin the experiment, there's something that we need to do first, and that is get our safety gear on. All right, here we go. We have my goggles, I got my safety gear on. We are ready for the experiment. So, the first thing that you're gonna need to do is put the baking soda inside the balloon. Now to do this, you get your spoon and you gently put it into the funnel after the funnel's attached to the balloon. Now by doing this, the baking soda should go down the funnel into the balloon, thus filling it in the balloon. The next step is to take your bottle and put in some vinegar. Now you don't want to fill the bottle, you probably only put it about a quarter of the way through. Then you attach the balloon to the bottle. Now, this is kind of a hard part because you want to make sure that you don't spill the baking soda in the vinegar yet. Not yet. So once you have a seal on the balloon and the bottle, you bring up the balloon and let the baking soda fall into the vinegar. Now, you probably want to hold on to the base of the balloon in order to make sure that it stays on, because if it doesn't stay on, that's how we get messes. So let's see how this looks when we actually do it. So I hope you enjoyed that experiment and you enjoyed the video this week. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Rest this weekend. There is no homework. Come back Monday ready to learn. Next week, we're going to be starting some new sites like readworks.org and possibly some epic books. So until the next time we talk, enjoy your weekend. You guys are all phenomenal, and I will talk to you later.